Thanks for joining us here on 90s Plus. I'm Chris Bianchi. Now, the Colorado Buffaloes in the Sweet 16 for the first time in 20 years. I'm going to do a little stretch here, Ariel, because I'm hopping on the bandwagon, and a lot of you might be hopping on the bandwagon as well. So for those of you who might not know a lot about the University of Colorado women's basketball team, we're now joined by 9 Sports' Ariel Orsuto to give us a little bit of an overview. And no shame. Again, I'm admittedly part of that train. So, Ariel, they beat Duke in overtime, 61-53 Monday night. 6 seed takes down 3 seed. Historic win for them. What should we know about this team from a broad basis?
Well, first of all, I am not on the bandwagon. I've been covering them for a few years now, but it's open. Come on in. The bandwagon is open. You're more than welcome to join. I think they would take as many fans as possible at this point. So come along. So that's what to learn about them at this point.
Yeah. Top line, big thing. What should we know about this team?
The main thing to know about this team, tenacity, defensive minded, and that's pretty much about it. They are a tenacious team that does not give up. They will not back down from any fight. The main thing you'll hear them talk about constantly is that they are not afraid of any other team. They're not afraid to face any seed. They don't care who it is. They will not back down from any team, any fight, or anything like that. And that's going to be important this upcoming Friday when they face number 2 Iowa and the best player in all of college basketball, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, we'll get more on that as they play Friday at 5:30 in Seattle. You'll be there for that game, so we'll have more details on that. I guess maybe one obvious way to start is J.R. Payne, 7th season as the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. What do we know about her?
What to know about her? Fantastic human being, first of all. She cares so much about her players. It is definitely a coach-led team, but it's really, really, really a player-led team. And as you probably know, player-led teams are always going to be the teams that are going to go the farthest. They're the teams that are the most gelled together. So the players that are leading this team are going to be Jalen Sherrod. She's in her 4th year here, technically senior, has another year of eligibility because we all know that COVID stuff, the COVID years kind of get a little funky. So Jalen Sherrod, she's going to be one of your senior leaders. Quay Miller, she's in her 2nd year with the program. She transferred in from Washington. She's also in sort of senior, has another year of eligibility. But those 2 players are going to be your leaders on this team. They are Jalen Sherrod. Talk about like a junkyard dog, somebody who just absolutely never gives up, who was under-recruited, only had one Power 5 offer. It was Colorado. Came in there and gave everything and is leading this team through all of this. Quay Miller leads the team in points, almost leads the team in rebounds, and she's going to be your center for the team. I mean, it's really a player-led team, but the way J.R. Payne leads this team, just with love and with care, and really just after every single game just says, I freaking love this team. Every single game. So it's really, and it really shows.
That's always nice to see and hear. I'm sure it kind of adds to the momentum for this team as well. You mentioned those 2 players specifically. Would you say one is the best player? Is there a star, or is this kind of a by committee team, would you say?
Sure. I mean, it's a good question. So, I mean, Quay Miller is, probably one of the best players in all of the Pac-12. She was on the first team all Pac-12. Like I said, leads the team in points, one shy of leading the team in rebounds. So she's probably going to be one of your stars, but she is, as the entire team will describe her, so nice. Literally has a smile on her face the entire time she plays. So she just doesn't have that, like she has an amazing personality, but she's so nice on the floor that it kind of takes away from that star power, if you will. Jalen Sherrod is a firecracker. She is the fastest player on the court. She can go coast to coast in like a second, just weaving through defenses. And the way she plays with ferocity. She plays with tenacity, and she is just absolutely, she's fired up every play. So she kind of has that heart, and she's been there the whole time. She's been there since her freshman year, so she kind of has a little bit more of like the star power, if you will.
One question, I was going to ask you something a bit more about the team specifically, but based on what you've said so far, it seems like you have a pretty strong personal kind of love or affinity for this team. Is this one of the favorite teams you've covered?
It is one of the favorite teams I've covered, probably just because I have a great connection with them, and because they have such great personalities. Every single player has a different personality, and they'll even say it themselves that they might have one cohesive unit and one cohesive personality as a team, but it's really made up of just say 5, like on the floor, 5 different personalities on the floor at one given time, and they really do. They each have such drastically different personalities, but that they just mesh together. I mean, they're just better than the sum of their parts, you know?
And to that point, I mean, this team wasn't expected to do a ton preseason. They were picked 8th in the Pac-12 preseason. They certainly seem to have ridden some of that personality to get certainly beyond expectations, right?
Yeah, I mean, being picked 8th in the pack was pretty laughable, to be honest. I mean, I didn't know that they were going to be this strong, but I definitely didn't think that they were going to take that much of a step back after really only losing Maya Hollingshed, who is a phenomenal player. I mean, picked in the first round of the WNBA draft by the Las Vegas Aces. Got cut eventually, but like only losing Maya Hollingshed, losing Peanut Tutele, only losing a couple of their pieces. That should not make them fall all the way to 8th in the polls, but for some reason, those who vote, I'm not a voting member of the media, those who vote pick them to finish 8th. Again, I think that's quite laughable when they're as far as they are right now, they're already in the Sweet 16. They're only one of 3 teams left of the Pac-12, Utah being another one, UCLA being another one. Guess who's not there? Stanford. The number 1 team. They were a number 1 seed. They were picked to finish first in the Pac-12, which they did, of course.
So I noticed, preparing for this, they are only allowing about 58.5 points a game. That's, I think, less than the majority of the team.
What did I say? Defense.
Defense first. So this is, if you had an identity, it is more on the defensive side of the ball than the offensive?
Absolutely, without a doubt, they are a defensive-minded team. They're defense first. They are led by their defense. In fact, the assistant head coach is Toriano Towns. He's the defensive coach, actually the husband of J.R. Payne. If you want to see a great story, by the way, I did a story on the 2 of them last year. J.R. Payne and Toriano Towns. They're a married couple, yet they're also coaching together on the team. It's a really great story. You can find that on one of my Fair Games. There's a plug, by the way.
Yeah, Fair Game. There you go. Yeah.
But the way that Coach T coaches this defense, I mean, they are suffocating. You'll see Kendall Wetta, who graduated from Valor Christian High School, by the way, here in the Denver area. Kendall Wetta is just absolutely suffocates on defense. She's a pest. And I say that in the best way. If you're a pest in sports, I mean, that is probably one of the best compliments you can get, right? She just gets up in people's faces. If they'll sit there and hold the ball, trying to set up a play, and they're not paying attention, swats it away, gets it, steals. She almost always leads the team in steals. Jalen Sherrod was first team All Pac-12 in defense. Quay Miller was a defensive player. I mean, they're defense first, and it shows. And
so what you were saying at the beginning as well about tenacity. Now, about the matchup on Friday night, Caitlin Clark, as you mentioned, one of the best players, if not the best player in college basketball, second seed at Iowa, waits them. How do you think that the Buffs match up?
You know, I don't actually think that it's a bad matchup, again, because we're talking about one of the best defensive teams in college basketball in Colorado, matching up against a team that really puts their entire offense through Caitlin Clark, whether she's shooting or whether she's dishing. I mean, it's not always her shooting that's the part of the offense, but the offense goes through her constantly. She is a perennial point guard, so it's always going to go through Caitlin Clark. So whether she's dishing it out or if she's taking the shot, if you can shut down Caitlin Clark, easier said than done, but if you can do it, then you stop Iowa.
Okay. So you think that they've got a realistic chance to win this game on Friday?
I mean, I think you give everyone a chance, right? And if you
they just beat a 3 seed. They're taking on a 2 seed. So numbers-wise, right?
Exactly. And I mean, if you don't think that they have a chance, then don't even show up. So, but I really do. I mean, I'm not just saying this as somebody who is close to this team. I'm close to this team because I actually, talk to them day in and day out and get, all of their information. And I watch a lot of their practices. And if you practice the way that you're playing, I mean, they practice for each matchup. So they're going to have somebody playing as Caitlin Clark in practice. They're going to be watching the way they do. They're going to scout that way. And so if you can shut down the way that she plays, I think that you have a realistic chance. Now, last year, they played at Iowa in the NCAA tournament. They played against Creighton. They lost against Creighton. It was a bad loss. They should not have lost that game. But if they would have won, they would have played against Iowa. So they kind of have a little bit of familiarity with the teams because they have to do a little bit of pre-scout before all that. It's a different team, of course. It's a whole year later, and she's a whole year better. But, it's something that they're prepared for, and they will prepare for it.
Speaking of maybe being a little prepared for it, let's get into Fantasyland here.
Sure.
Let's say they win against Iowa. Is this a team that, they're only 4 wins away from winning the national title right
Yeah.
now? Are they capable of doing that?
Here's why it's actually a little bit more realistic than you would think. Because they win this game, right? Then the next game is against either Ole Miss or Louisville. And that's only a matchup because Ole Miss took down Stanford already, another one of the 1 seeds. 2 1 seeds have already fallen in the round of 32. I mean, this is unheard of. It's the first time it's happened since, I believe, 1998. I'm taking that just out of my head real quick, and I'm
Wow.
pretty sure that's true. So Stanford's down, Indiana down. That's 2 1 seeds down. Now, to win a national championship, you got to, on the other side of the bracket, beat South Carolina and Dawn Staley. That's a tall task. I don't think anybody's beating them. But what if they fall before they make it to the Final Four, or before they make it to the national championship game? I mean, there's so many things that have to happen before you get to that final game that you just never know. That's why you got to show up.
And it seems like, based on what you're saying, and correct me if I'm misreading this, but Iowa seems like it's going to be a tall order, but it
Yes.
seems like a realistic win.
And then the next game should be easier.
Should be easier. That means you're
Based
in
on
the final.
matchup. The next game should be easier based on seeding and based on matchup. I mean, Louisville has Haley Van Lith, which is also one of the best players in the nation. She was considered an AP honorable mention, which she took very personally, and she is now like kind of on her own. It was like, we'll call it like her villain origin story. Like, she's like basically on her own journey right now because she was only called an honorable mention instead of like a first team or second team player. So she's kind of going off in the tournament right now. So that's a tough task right now in Louisville. But in Ole Miss, they just took down Stanford, so they're riding their own momentum, right? I mean, so you just never know who you're matching up against. Like, one of those teams might be harder to beat than even Iowa is. Who knows?
Who knows in the
And
tournament?
that's why it's madness, right?
But it's fun, and
Yeah.
you mentioned this is a fun team.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we should know?
Oh God, there's just a lot. They're a lot of fun. I mean, missing one of the most fun players to watch, Frida Foreman. Frida Foreman. She's been with the team for 3-4 years. She was recruited there, so she's been with the team for quite a few years. I believe 3 years now. She is a shooting machine. She basically can't miss. I mean, when you see her open on the floor, you just immediately like put up a 3. You just feel like that's going in. She leads the team in three-point percentage. She leads the point in 3 points made. She shoots 90% from the line.
90%. Wow.
Is insane. So don't foul her.
Don't foul her.
Or do. And so she is, when I tell you somebody who is just fun just to watch fundamentally and like just who has just a perfect stroke, it is Frida Foreman.
All right, so Buffs, Iowa, Friday, 5:30. You want to go out on a limb and give me a prediction?
You know what? You've asked me this before. You know I don't do predictions.
I know you don't, but I was thinking about whether or not to ask you, but I don't know. I got a good feeling based on what you've heard.
I have a good feeling. Let's say that. I've got a good feeling about it.
Yeah. All right. We'll go with the good feeling, and we'll leave you with a good feeling about this. Buffs, Iowa, 5:30. Ariel or Suda, thanks so much for joining us and enlightening us and allowing us to confidently and knowledgeably,
Yes.
knowledgeably, if that's a word,
Knowledgeably.
there you go, that's the actual word, hop aboard the CU Buffs bandwagon. But
Come
Ariel,
along.
come along. Ariel, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.